Hey everyone, what is up and welcome back to the channel. I'm Heather and today we are making a dress for Italy. I am so excited. This has been the piece I have been the most anxious to make. If you're new to the channel, I do a lot of sewing and fashion content, and this particular video is part of a series about sewing for our Italian road trip. We are leaving in a week, so I've got to get this done. I got a little behind with the last project. I've got at least this and one other that I would like to accomplish. So today we are working on McCall's new sewing pattern, 8582, and using this beautiful local fabric that I cannot get enough of. It's part of why I took my time. I did not want to have any accidents with this because I'm in love with it. It is like a polyester silk. I did a little playing around with the needles. Finally found a Microtex 70 that seemed to work better than the 60 for me on this. So we're ready to sew. Everything is good to go. Let's get started. Okay, so I just went ahead and drew lines for the darts. This is just my preferred way. I actually like to take a ruler and draw the entire thing. And then I decided, since this is a dress and a type of fabric I would usually do a French seam on, we don't have a ton of time. So I think I am just gonna serge the raw edges on this time. And I found some hot pink tucked away, which I didn't think I had. So I'm really excited because I think I'll prefer this. If I'm having to overlock instead of do the French seams, I think I'm gonna prefer that on the inside. So I'm gonna take the time to set up the serger too. All right, we've got the first couple pieces of the bodice put together, and now I am working on the lower front part of the bodice. So I've got it pinned here. Lots of pinning with how slippery this fabric is, and I've been using my clips. I kind of played around with silk pins and those worked good for the cutting, but actually I just think usually clips work better for me, so that's what I'm doing. But I'm already loving how it's looking, and it's definitely sort of an interesting construction that I'll have to show you a little bit here in a second. Okay, so I'm gonna see if you can see what I'm talking about. This is the bodice right now. I've got the lower half to attach next, but it's just assembled in an interesting way with all these swoops. So basically, if you look at the back side, if I flip this around and you're looking at the back of the bodice here, you'll see that on the right side of the bodice, there is a large and a small dot, and that next section or swoop, kind of the waistline there, only gets stitched up into that small dot. So when we add this next piece, it's going to get stitched also from the small dot out. And it's sort of similar to how the center section here is done, because you sew each side up to the large dot and then there is a little bit of an overlap to create that sharp center. So there's going to be a lot of connection like that. So now let's go ahead and connect our lower section. All right, so we have the front all sewn up and attached minus the flounce, which will come later, but I'm really happy because these little spots where everything sort of meets at that dot is definitely a little bit on the fickle side. So you definitely want to take your time with that, but it's working out really well. And you can see that's sort of what helps create this asymmetry and allow these different pieces to puzzle piece together. And I'm really happy with how it's looking so far. So moving on to the back. All right, it's a new day, getting ready to start again. I just sort of pressed the front of the dress up onto the form last night. So this is definitely not sewn to anything in the back. Both the sewing room and my hair are a complete mess right now. So I'm gonna have to figure out where I left off here. I think what I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna finish the back. I think I had nearly finished the back panel yesterday. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do the lining because I believe it matches the front bodice and the back bodice. I think I'm basically just doing everything twice, but in the directions it has you go ahead and attach the front to back before coming back to do the lining. But if I would happen to like how the lining comes together, because I'm using the same fabric for it, if I would like that front more than this front, it gives me options. So I think that's what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish up the back, come back and do the lining / mirroring the front, and then choose what I want to do and sew the two together. So let's get back to this. My goal for today is to finish this dress. I think it's doable. That flounce is going to take the most amount of time, I think. But if I can somehow get this done today, I'll be in pretty good shape. I've got one more set, a short and top set I want to do. And if I would have extra time, there's another dress I'd like to do. But if I could get those 3 done, I would have hit the main 3 I wanted to achieve. So let's see what we can get done today. All right, y'all, so I have all of the front and back panels done now for the lining and the main part of the bodice. And I did realize after saying this earlier that because this dress is asymmetrical, there is actually a difference between the lining and the front piece or back piece. But I have decided, I've looked at the front piece and its lining piece up on the dress form, and I just really prefer how the piece right here that's supposed to be the lining looks than the actual front piece. So I kind of took a look through the pattern and I decided I'm going to sort of reverse engineer it because I don't think it's super complicated. So basically my long flounce, the longest part, is now going to switch sides on me versus on the pattern, as well as the bow, and the zipper will be on the opposite side. But it looks totally doable because the flounce should just be reversible depending on the way I turn the flounce. So what was going to be the lining on the front is now going to be the bodice. And I think the next step here is I am sewing together the front and back pieces, doing a zipper install, and then going from there. So I'm really excited because we're gonna finally start to see it coming together. All right, you guys, good morning. I'm back at it. I did not get the dress finished yesterday. I just didn't. I'm actually going to have to redo the zipper install. I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but I think the only thing I dread more than gathers is installing zippers. I don't know why. I just don't enjoy the process. And normally I don't necessarily have trouble with it. I just don't like it. But yesterday I had some issues. As you can see, the entire zipper has been unpicked. So that was a process. Essentially what happened was I didn't get a good lineup for the seam allowance under the zipper versus through the zipper, if that makes sense. So I was trying to make that adjustment, and when I did that, the little zipper stopper was not clamped down tightly, and this little clamp guy actually came all the way off as I pulled the zipper, and I was never able to get it back attached. So today, I woke up and I went out and I bought another zipper. So we're just going to do this all over again. And something else I forget to do a lot of times, I know to do it and I forget, is to do some interfacing. So since I had to pick it all out, I do think I'm going to do some interfacing before I redo this zipper install. Other than that, I really like how the dress is looking. I want it to turn out well. I don't want to have issues, and picking out of this particular fabric is not easy, and I don't want to overwork it and damage the fabric beyond repair. I don't really have enough to fix much if that happens, especially with the flounce. And so when I get done with this dress, I was going to do a short and a top set. And now I'm debating if I only do the shorts and I do one other either dress or skirt. I'm not sure, because I do have a shirt that would work for the look with the shorts that I just purchased a long time ago. So I'm just kind of having to think on that too, because I did find this fabric, which I think is kind of a cool fabric for Italy. So I'm just debating now if I do the whole look that I was planning on, or if I just do the shorts and use a shirt I already have just to get another whole look out of things. Possibly, we'll see. But today is all about getting this dress done and how much time is left in my day when that happens, because that's going to also tell me a lot about what I have time to do. Okay, the room is destroyed from this dress right now, but I'm just, again, so happy to be off the zipper. So now we are putting the two flounce pieces together and creating the seams to make it one big circle. All right, so the flounce is now sewn together, and I just got the low bobbin thread notification, and I'm actually kind of relieved it happened now, because I am about to do the hem on the flounce. And I was thinking, I've been sewing for a while on this dress now, and it has to be coming, and the hem is really long, and I hope it doesn't happen in the middle of that. So I'm gonna do a little bobbin rethreading here. Okay, so pressing up the hem definitely was time consuming, as I figured it would be. But this pattern calls for a designer hem, which is a term I had never heard before, but it's essentially what I just did on my bridesmaid dress. So it has you press up the fabric and stitch close to the fold you created, and then trim the seam allowance, and then fold it one more time so you get that really fine hem. So that made me so nervous on the bridesmaid dress just because I don't want to accidentally cut the main fabric. I did get some duckbill scissors, which seemed to work better, but I'm gonna have to be very careful because I do not have enough material for another flounce. So. All right, so here is my tiny little hem, part 1. It looks so nice. I honestly wish I had just serged the edge before doing this and I would have just left it right here, but not what I did. So you can see there's all this extra seam allowance, and now I have to go cut that off, and then we will fold one more time to create the finished little fine hem. And I think I'm not gonna film this cutting part because y'all are gonna make me nervous. So this is a nerve-wracking part. I definitely do think the duck-billed scissors helped on my bridesmaid dress. So I am going to cut this excess away so slowly that I'll see you in like an hour. All right, so you can see how I cut away this excess. And now I'm just folding over the hem I created where I cut the raw edge so that it encases that raw edge. And I'm just sort of finger pressing as I go to make this tiny final little hem. It definitely came in handy that I just did this on my bridesmaid dress, so it's going a lot smoother. Okay, the flounce is on, the zipper is in, and I am loving how this looks. I'm gonna have to clip back some on the flounce to loosen that up a little bit, I think. But other than that, I'm super happy about this. And now we are on to basically the straps, the lining, and the bow. I might go ahead and make the bow just because that sounds like fun. But I'm really, really happy with how this is coming along. All right, so I've started on the bow, and I had to basically just sew a strip and leave an opening to turn, which I did. I pressed it, and now I've just got to slip stitch that spot closed, and we're gonna have a bow soon. All right, I finished up the accent bow, and I went ahead and stitched up the spaghetti straps and turned those out and pressed them as well. So the next step is going to be to attach the straps and then onto the lining with actually attaching the bow being the final step in this dress. I am loving how it's looking. I just love this fabric and the color so much. So yeah, let's attach the straps. Okay, y'all, I just tried the dress on with the straps basted to check the length to make sure everything looked good. Oh my gosh, spoiler alert. This will probably make it onto my list of favorite makes for the year. This is one of those I'm screaming inside right now. I love it so much. Obviously I still have to get the lining in and the bow on, but I am loving it. So let's get this lining put in and this bow on. And then I will probably do some of the finishing touches, just like sitting on the couch, you know, doing all the sort of hand stitching, lining in, but I want to get the main things done so I can really see the finished product. All right, so I finished the dress off camera. We packed up and headed for the Tuscan Countryside for my friend's wedding. I hope you enjoy this scenic footage and the finished dress. I hope you've enjoyed coming along for this sewing vlog with me. Please consider subscribing if you're new to the channel and giving this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Have a great rest of the week, and I'll see you soon.